All right, friends, welcome back again to another episode of Tactical Enlightenment. Our YouTube channel is dedicated to all things Bannerlord related, and we resume our epic Vlandian campaign. Now, this is the Khuzait side of it. Of course, these are the children of Baron York, Hal currently leading his party because, of course, Ryland was killed. We'll talk more about that. And before we start today's episode with the Siege of Yalmyris, just a very quick recap of some of the things that happened where I didn't feel like I needed to show you every single detail. After a fairly mundane, the city of Amitatis fell to Hal's large army. And then, of course, you could see here he was voted ownership of Amitatis. A nice city to defend, unquestionably one of the best cities for defense in the entire map. Now we are going to head to the city of Yalmyris here for a siege, but on the way to Yalmyris, I realized that Hal had not been married, right? He had actually had his wife killed. I think her name was Court a long time ago. And so I was seeing if we had any of the leaders of the clans with us here. Once I found a leader of a clan, I decided to do a little bit of a gamble here, disband the army because you must do that in order to get married. For whatever reason, they won't talk to you about marriage when you have a big army at your back. Hopefully that's something that gets fixed in the future, but nevertheless, I digress. We found Hal a suitable wife here, and for a very bargainable price, I think she was like 5,000 dinars, we have hitched Hal to a new Khuzait wife. I think it was, yeah, so 1,000. So very much a bargain, mail order Khuzait bride here. And I'm going to continue to show you some of these smaller details around the margin of this campaign. We will skip some of the very, very mundane stuff from time to time. I continue at this stage of the campaign. We are nearing, I guess I would call, the gnarliest, most chaotic portion of the campaign. I will try to show you the majority of the gameplay. Of course, in order to make this campaign something less than 300 hours, we will occasionally do a little after editing just like this. So, just to recap, Amitatis fell. Amitatis was voted for Hal. Hal had to reassemble his army here, which was a bit of a gamble before the siege. However, that at least made our little cohesion bar 100%. You can see down to 77 influence. Influence continues to be a worrisome trait here, and we will now pick up live narration with the siege. Such and such is lost. You know, those are the minor clans being disbanded after, in this case, I think it's the Southern Empire that's disintegrating. That is worrisome there. That looks like an Aserai army. Indeed, following Khaleesi party. So you know what that means. That means that Aserai forces are reassembling here, even though we've already smashed a couple of huge armies in the last couple hours. More are coming. But at least Hal is married, right? And so presumably they're on the way to making royal children. I'm not sure what to call Hal at this stage. Of course, Hal's in charge of the kingdom after the death of his brother Ryland. Now we're starving here. At least we're not starving. Some of the other armies that are with us are starving. There's an Aserai army force assembling to our east. That's a little bit worrisome. You know, in this situation, you're kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. If we siege and there's an army right outside, they hammer and anvil you against the city here, and his siege skill is just, it's paltry. We're going to have to continue to work on his skill here. Of course, our army's not reassembled because, unfortunately, these companions got dumped off in cities so far away when Ryland was killed in combat. His army group, for whatever reason, oh shit. All right, we're going to have combat here. Let's go ahead and defending Yalmyris. Let's see what we do here. They're coming right for us. Welcome back again, friends, to another episode of Tactical Enlightenment. Our YouTube channel is dedicated to all things Bannerlord related. Welcome back again to our epic Vlandian campaign, playing as Khuzait. This remains the side series of this campaign as we follow the progress of the Baron's children. And this was something I had intended all along, having these simultaneous campaigns run at the same time. Hal Henry Ryland, of course, was slain in the last episode, so Hal has ascended the throne here, and we've got the guy hooked up here, right? The medievalmatch.com. We paid something like 1,000 dinars for this gal. We can't add her because we just started the siege here of Yalmyris, and I started this episode because we have an Aserai force looming outside. We can't begin the siege here, and I was just talking about it. It's very difficult to siege a city in this situation because with the reinforcement system, you get hammer and anvil from the outside here. Now, Hal's got a powerful army, but it's not elite. It's his sister. Here it is. Look at this shit. His sister has all tier 5 units, almost all tier 5 units. So I'm not that afraid of this Aserai force. I kind of welcome a battle here, and hopefully we can have another great battle in this campaign. I don't have a good nickname yet for Hal, although, of course, in this era, for those who are not aware of it, they started naming English kings King Hal. So we shall see, right? The development of these characters continues. People are being executed. Leotros, what was that shit? Leotros has been executed by Thorjan Hauksson. We have all these Nordic names in the campaign. I did some research. Some of them, of course, I know just from scouting history. And this is interesting. This Aserai force is just parked here watching us. That tells you that they don't have a strong army, a very strong army, or at least it's not as strong as ours, right? Because obviously they would attack since they outnumber us. The garrison would probably sally out as well. Now, I'm close to launching the siege here, but it's terrifying, right? Because that Aserai force for sure is going to attack you from behind. So, damn it, the enemy has a fire catapult and, well, hold everything. We got ourselves a battle here, 2,900. We're in a little bit of trouble here. Hal, of course, has had tremendous success so far as the leader, but he is mortal and his combat skills are not terrific. So I blanch a little bit more than normal when you get outnumbered in a situation like this. These armies are going to attack at the same time. It's going to be almost outnumbered 2-1 here. So buckle up, friends, and welcome back again to our epic Vlandian / Khuzait campaign. The beats keep on coming. The strength and AI mod, that army broke apart, but we still have combat here against a huge amount of Aserai forces. And of course, the Death for All mod, all of the systems are cranked, so buckle up here, right? Whether it's Rose, Isegund. Of course, Isegund is an unnamed character, so to speak, not a Patreon supporter. That is one of the Baron's children. If you want to be named, after the Baron's children, I'm not opposed to changing it mid-campaign. It'll be a little jarring for the folks watching, but if we can do that pretty quickly, obviously it'll be easier on your brains, right? If guys aren't changing their names every other episode. Now, I'm not going to change names of people once they're already named, right? So if some gal or some guy wants to take over Isegund, maybe they want to role play as a female, let me know in the comments and we'll do the very best we can. I'm not going to take, really strange requests like I want a sex change with Isegund. I'm pretty apolitical on the channel, but what I don't want to do is be jarring the viewers. So now strategically here, all that said, I think we're going to continue to try this sword and board approach, this hammer and anvil approach. It's basically a new approach to tactics that I've been trying out, and it's worked very well so far with Hal. Ironically, I started really doing it with Hal, and it's been working very well. To the right here, we have a bit of a hill and ridge line that'll prevent their archers from getting over the top of it and shooting down on top of us. With our horse archers and mobile cavalry units, we can position them to sweep from right to left, and of course to spray ammo from right to left, and that'll also allow us to trap their units between the crossfire. First, second, and fourth we have here in defensive posture in the center of the board. That way, and that's a beautiful shock troop division. That way the enemy hopefully collapses on that first, second, and fourth division. They're more defensive while the rest of our units are ready to kill. And from there, of course, it's always improv tactics, right? Once you get done with the first 5-10 minutes of battle, it really is improvisation the rest of the way. Now that looks good. I'm going to change my mouse sensitivity here. You guys You guys have your own comfort level. I haven't played in a little while. My wife and I did some hiking, and so I'm a little bit askew right now, and I don't feel very comfortable. On top of that, this is a huge battle. I mean, maybe you could make an argument that I should jump into the custom battle menu and play a few battles beforehand, but that's what wussies do here. We're gonna play this campaign on crazy difficult level, including no practice in a week and a half. My wife and I did multiple backpacking trips up into the Olympics, some of the beautiful mountains that are part of the Pacific Northwest. Maybe at some point or other, if there's interest, I'll slap on 5 or 10 pictures from one of these trips. They truly are worth seeing. Of course, anybody who's backpacked up to an alpine lake will tell you that. And maybe 99% of you don't give a fuck about what I'm doing in my vacation time. But that's another thing to toss into the comments box if you're just curious what someone who plays thousands of hours of Bannerlord does in his vacation time here. Now, I can tell I've been on vacation because I can't hit the broadside of a bus with my javelin or my polearm swings here, but we'll see how fast we get back on the bike here. It's already starting to work as far as drawing the enemy towards the center, but their Vanguard Ferris is spraying and spreading all over the place. That is disconcerting. That said, I can move our mixed cav division here, and that'll provide a little more armor out front. So the armored horses out front, the horse archers behind them. And their infantry block, a huge infantry block, is coming kind of right between our two. They're actually heading more towards our right than our left, which I would prefer not. I would prefer they went towards our defensive units, not towards our shock troops. But we will adjust. We can simply kite here. Let's get this 8th Division. These guys are going to start getting chomped. I just want them moving. That way they're not getting drilled with Palace Guard axes and javelins. They have a huge infantry vanguard. That's got to be 400 units or something. I didn't see. It looks like 400 units. Let's get this 7th Division pushed back a little bit. The 3rd Division is mixed right in here with the horse archers, giving them a little cover. But I don't want them to charge first, right? I want them to charge behind the enemy while they're being impinged upon by our armored division. So I'm actually bringing the infantry over in a square. They're moving like in a big armada there, 75 guys, and I'm basically going to shove it up the spine of this huge Aserai line. Once they roar and charge, then we can move in here behind with the rest of our killer units. 6th, 7th. We can charge with the 8th. They've engaged. Now we can charge with the 3rd. The archers have a beautiful tunnel to shoot anybody who's not fighting here in the middle. They have all kinds of Vanguard Ferris here, also buffering. It's just a gigantic armored elite Vanguard the Aserai are presenting here. And we need to have a huge success in this initial wave because we're going to be in a numbers game in this battle. 2nd Division, I didn't mention it, but as usual, they're playing defense here. They're providing a corridor. I moved them out of the circle and now putting them in a shield wall, getting in my way, hopefully trying to block a lot of those arrows that would be finding our flesh. Now, it's just a huge chaotic scrum here. There's so many Aserai forces and infantry in here. Of course, we don't have as many infantry. We have more horse archers. They have a lot of cavalry, too. We're outnumbered, so they have more of everything than us. It's the nature of battles like this. Of course, Hal is starting to get at least reasonably competent with his weapons. You can see this is his legendary glaive, and I feel pretty comfortable with it now. Like, it doesn't swing as comically slow as it did in the beginning. All right, let's start pushing on these archers here. The infantry is going to get swallowed up, so let's just presume that's the case and move towards their archer line. Try to decimate them first and get aggressive here. 6th, 7th, I got that ridge over there. Let's fucking hammer these archers here. They're trying to hold their ground. Fuck you, bitches. Let's teach them a good lesson here. Spear right to the kidney. Now, it's nice that Hal can use his polearm either way, right? This glaive is so nasty because you can use it as a stabbing weapon. It's not terrifically damaging, but safe, right? You could keep your shield out, and at least for a little while, I'm going to keep his configuration just like this. As soon as I let it down, I get shot. There's all these fiend champs. All right, we got that 1st Division and 3rd Division destroyed their infantry. Let's start moving up here. Their archers are definitely reeling. They're being strafed with horse archers. I'm also going to fight on foot, though, a fair bit with Hal. Right, that is his spec, right? He has something like 80 or 100. I don't know what it is now. I forgot. Maybe it's 120 riding skill. It's going up fast, of course, because we're getting all these kills on a horse. But his skill is going to be on foot a lot, even though that's going to be a little bit more difficult for you guys, you know, watching to be able to see. And of course, generally speaking, your survivability is lower on foot, right? You can just carve through here, kill 6-7 guys. No one even targeted me, much less hurt me there. It's going to be harder to play on foot, but I think that's going to be a nice added element of variety for this campaign. So we'll do a little bit of this hybrid. Of course, if you've been watching Baron York lately, you've noticed that I've liked fighting on foot as well. Once you get good athleticism, you can just rake and mash on foot. Let's strafe here. Let's get a whole bunch of units to the side, this flank here. This is absolutely one of the biggest advantages that the Khuzait have. Is you have full flanking control. The enemy's coming down the chute here. They've got 600 troops, infantry pouring in. We could just stretch 350 horse archers and cavalry all along their left flank here, and there's not much they can do about it other than kind of haplessly shoot at them and try to get over there with infantry while they get scorched, shot to pieces. If you know how to use the Khuzait, it's kind of absurd how powerful they are, and of course this campaign has partly demonstrated that. Just moving this cavalry wave forward, and this is kind of perfect for me to join here. There's a cavalry wave moving forward, right? We've got armored horse. This is one of my favorite tactics in an offensive manner here. The enemy is not together, right? Their forces are all strewn about. You want to take advantage of that, right? Because when they're divided, they're a lot less damaging, a lot less dangerous. Their infantry's coming up 10 at a time instead of 100 at a time. And man, do I feel rusty. We'll push this cav division in here, and maybe we'll do a little bit better on foot. Oh shit, it's carnage. Horses are getting killed around me. Now, I still got a lot of health bar here, and I've got an infantry line in front of me. Ahead of them is a bunch of armored horse and cavalry, and this looks like a steamroller waiting to happen here. Let's see what we got going on. Kill him, Falksman. Oh shit, this is their guy. They got a Falksman here just carving us apart. They move fast. Fuck, he's ripping me up. Well, and you see my lack of practice. You can see how difficult the game is when I haven't played lately. Hopefully we'll get better here because we might lose this battle. And we will use his sword and shield skills, right? Hal is really good with the one-handed weapon. This is all unexpected, right? I did not, of course, expect the main character, the main protagonist, Ryland, to get killed in combat. This shit happens. Well, I make it add to the storyline here. And I'm sure some guys like to see a difficult challenge while we're fighting with a non-combat character here. He's a good leader, but his combat skills leave a lot to be desired. Kill them, Legionary. Alright, now I'm charging with crossbow here. A lot of people say, why are you doing that? Or actually hold fire, because these guys are badass. If you have a bunch of archers, like master archers like this, charge with your crossbow. Don't even try to shoot. They're better archers than you, generally speaking, and if you can get your crossbow up here smashing them to pieces with their mace and stuff like that, all these archers just smashing everything in sight, those master archers melt. And then once you're past them, then you can tell these guys to charge and open fire, right? Because then they have ammo, they've done their dirty work. It's really, really a powerful thing in Bannerlord to use these Imperial Sergeant this way, right? And then you can just tell them to fire, or you can position them somewhere, and now they have ammo, of course, because they haven't been shooting the last minute. The enemy's down to some middle tier units already. I like what I'm seeing here. Fucking... Yeah, I mean, his glaive on foot's not terrible, but you know, I don't know what his skill is. Maybe it's 150. It's not, you know, I'm not lighting people up like, oh shit. In fact, I got lit up. I got smashed. All right, well, you guys fucked up now. You gave control of a two-handed character to tactical enlightenment, right? Like I was practically born with a two-handed weapon in my crib. I've got giant forearms in real life. They're biological. People are always curious, how the hell do you get forearms like that? I actually had a guy ask me in a random dinner I was having with my wife. I feel like I should have paid the guy. He came up to me right in the middle while we had ordered our meal, and he's like, I gotta know, man, how do you get forearms like that? That tells you all you need to know, right? Now, of course, I lift weights. I'm a firefighter. I'm not, I have more muscle than the average person, but my forearms are Popeye-like. And you put a two-handed mace in my hand in real life, and there are going to be shattered jaws. So this is my cup of tea right here. Now, I don't like commanding like this. I'm trying to make some order on foot, and it's a lot harder to figure things out. Of course, this is Henry. Henry does have a nice little, a skill set, right? He can kill people at range, and then you get him up close, and it's called Aserai Pulp. Everything is going to get smashed into a very fine, mushy marmalade by his mace. Doing a little bracketed. Still got to do tactics. I mean, a lot of people will just say F1, F3 here, but I'm trying to do some tactics because this battle, I don't know how much more Aserai are coming. There could be reinforcements. There could even be Sturgeon units too. So, still trying to use our head here before we smash them with our mace. I got 2 arrows left. That ain't gonna do much. But push, 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 right? This is definitely a push situation. That looks good. I need infantry here in front of me. I wish there was more infantry next to me because then I'd weigh in. You still can't fight by yourself, right? That's not really a thing. I guess Baron York is doing it. Henry's not to that skill, nor does he have that armor. In fact, we're sort of role-playing that Henry has a disdain for heavy armor. He's got the Berserker style, so he's wearing very light armor. And obviously you can't take too many direct shots, even with his high athleticism. Kind of running for my life here. Fucking dipshit, receding hairline, Battanian rebel. Get the fuck up. Battanian raider smashed. Now, I still like what I see here, right? We've got really good position horse archers. Fucker. Smack me with your mace. Here's a mace. Ah, damn. 51 damage he took to a shot to the head. Fuck. 56. So, I'm kind of butchering today, but I haven't played in a while. So, we'll just do the best we can here. Good defense is a good offense sometimes. At least our tactical situation looks good. Those archers have a nice V shape over there. We've got horse archers behind me spraying. Where is this fucking infantry line? Of course, when you advance on the enemy like this, one of the dangers is that their infantry gets to you before your infantry reinforcements do, right? Their infantry is boring in here. Just trying to survive now, getting chased. Fuckers. Eat shit. Fucker. And of course, he's got short legs like his brother. Who is this? I think this is some random lord. Alright, let's figure out what's going on here. Let's start doing some tactics. 66. We've got 192 in the 4th Division. We've got a nice cav division here. Let's set up some defensive lines and start to spread out archers here. Enough fighting for the moment. I've got to do some tactics. Of course, you could still stab some guys here, but 4th Division split with the 5th. That's 2 nice horse archer divisions. The 4th there. Let's stretch the 5th in a long line here. Let's give them a long line of cav. And then what we've got with these 2 different horse archer divisions is we can split them and then bring them in. The 6th way over there. The 7th can follow me. And what we'll do is a massive hammer and anvil from both flanks while our center charges. This will be really effective if we can get the timing down. You got to be patient, right? I'm watching our infantry move up, trying to get our cavalry out in front here to slow down some of their units. But I like what I see, right? There's 49 in that 6th division on the other side of the map, 7th division with me, and we're just going to charge right through the middle of their battlefield with a huge amount of cons guards. The reason I'm doing this in particular is that these guys are out of ammo. Right, when I highlight that 6th and 7th division, you can see that they have no ammo left. So 388, they're 80% infantry, but that's okay, right? It's still going to be devastating when both of these sides collapse. And get that first. That 1st is halfway. I'm just going to charge with them. The 3rd division can move in hard. 6th and 7th come towards the center here. And here we go. Look at this runway. In we go, boys. And just break upon their lines. This is like something out of the Rohirrim. All the 7th Corps following me here, and we just break across the fucking battlefield. Half of them are reforming, or maybe even routing. It's almost like they knew what was coming. And they just got absolutely trucked. I don't think it would have mattered. Even if they were charging there, that attack would have finished this battle. We could pursue here in case they're trying to reform. They still have a lot of troops, but I see a lot of recruits. The Aserai are war-weary, right? And this is I got to tell you, this is a good thing in this campaign. What I mean by that is that our enemies are not invulnerable. They don't have endless tier 5 and 6. They have a lot. They have way more than vanilla, but they don't have endless. Not only is that not realistic, but it would be impossible to win, right? If the enemy had non-stop armies of 2,000 tier 5 units, you simply can't win. Not without, a huge amount of resources on your own side, which we really don't have. So I'm okay with this, right? And of course, you guys that are rolling with us, whether it's people rooting for the campaign or the Patreon supporters, people like Rose who are like, come on, don't kill my character, right? She's been with us for quite a while in this campaign. You don't want to see us lose and suffer a bunch of losses. Of course, there could still be death, and you cringe each time. Clink, clink, clink. Ugh. But no important deaths. Nobody from our clan. None of the wives, I think. I'm trying to think. No, none of those are our units. And so a little bit of relief here as we get going again in this campaign. Shamir the Jawal, Dwayne, Sora, and Hal and Henry both did work, gaining some good levels and critically no losses. This is a pretty important victory at this stage. Only 600 and something healthy that are left. But that should be enough for us to heal 2, 3, 4 days and then get on with the siege of Jalmyrus. Now we're starting again to creep kind of close to Vlandia, starting to creep close to the edges of Baron York's territory. Again, hopefully that's an interesting element for you folks watching, right? Wondering what's going to happen, right? It was going to be Rylan. Is Hal now going to encounter the Baron? Will they fight on the battlefield? Will there be inter-family clashes within this campaign? All I can say is stay tuned, fellas. Just like a good movie, a good Netflix miniseries, trying to keep you guys on the edge of your seat here with different twists in this campaign. All right, so 700 units healing up here. The garrison's not sallying out, partly because it's mostly militia. They'd only have 240 something in the garrison. So on goes the siege here, right? We're going to catch our breath a little bit here. I've got an itch on my head that I got to scratch. The kind of things that happen when you narrate these live. Yeah, getting some good perk skills, right? 250 athleticism forms. Polearm is up to 200. That's amazing. So Hal is on his way to being a good warrior, and he's ultimately heading pretty similar spec to the Baron, with the exception of his bow skill, right? He's crossbow, or the Baron rather, is crossbow spec, and Hal is bow skill. I think that makes sense, being in a Khuzait kingdom here. The idea in this whole campaign is Hal, Rose, Isagun, they were sort of raised in the Khuzait culture. And of course, even though Manchug has shown some disdain for the family, he's not thrilled about the fact that all the big victories are coming at the behest of Hal, Rylan, and company, still ultimately supporting the Khuzait cause here. Now we're going to launch into this siege here. They have 900. There could be reinforcements too, so right, I'm just going to continue to narrate here just in case it's gnarly, just in case Hal gets killed in combat. And we are going to continue to use his one-handed skill. I think he's in the high 200s. We've got some nice equipment here, and that's a pretty nice loadout for siege defense, right? You can whip out a two-handed glaive if you're on offense. It has long reach if you're like on a ladder or something like that. And of course, you have the defense of a shield and sword, and then a few javelins to boot. With the perks he has, he should have, quite a few javelins here for this assault. Now, this is definitely one of the most unique cities that the Imperials have. It's this highly multifaceted, strange shape keep siege. It has multiple layers of defense inside the city. So this is another city that I'm hopeful that Hal gets voted for him. Of course, it gets harder for cities to get voted for you after you already have one, right? We added Amitatis. We lost Akalat. Akalat, for those who haven't been paying that close attention, rebelled. That was actually one of the cities that we got originally, that Rylan was in charge of. Second division here, it's mixed. Okay, we'll bring those guys up either behind Hal here on the left or on the right. Second, fifth. We have 4 different archer divisions. We have a lot of troops, so I don't want to see 2,000 troops attack us from behind, but if they do, we're ready for it, right? We've got 2 different entrenched archer divisions with infantry amongst them. This city does provide some nooks and crannies for our troops to congregate if we do get ass jammed, and if we don't, of course, the city should be ours. We get Hail Mary. Something I want to talk about is the DLC, if it is possible, and it's probably going to be, right? The modders are usually Johnny on the spot. If the DLC is either compatible with some of these mods, character editing mods, or new ones come out pretty quickly, we are going to have an epic, I guess we'll call it an epic Nordic campaign. I haven't decided yet whether or not we're going to play the Nords or against them. That's the kind of thing that our Patreon supporters will decide. I'll probably have a poll and skewing it towards the people who contribute the most, because that's the whole purpose of Patreon, is to give you guys sort of voting rights the same way that they have certain A shareholders and B shareholders of major companies. Some guys have more sort of voting legislative power. That's how it works in a corporation. This is obviously not a corporation, but the whole idea of Patreon is you guys are patronizing the channel, and I want to give you guys some say in future endeavors. So probably going to play as the Norse, but we may play as a kingdom. Get on the horse. Here we go. We may play as a kingdom that's fending off the Norse, right? I haven't decided yet. Now, all of that is to say, there's going to be an epic Norse campaign. Not right away. We're going to have to learn the system a little bit. We're going to have to understand the map and things a little bit more than we do right now. Get the mods updated. But these campaigns may interact with that, which is going to be a really cool element. In other words, Rose, Comet Royal, Bandit King George, these companions may and hopefully will roll over into those campaigns. In other words, if we're playing as the Nords, they might be fighting against us. If we're playing against the Nords, it could be Hal and company or Baron York and company holding off the Nords in a DLC, and I think that's going to be really interesting. I'm going to lead like a man here. We've got a shield, we've got a sword, there's a bunch of troops here with us, and we're going to try to push to the left here and sweep through the city. It looks like mostly militia on this side of the city here. And let me continue basically what I mean to say. The people that have watched the Aserai campaign, the Vlandian campaign, there's even some other elements that we're going to mix in from other side campaigns from the channel. Believe it or not, Hugh the Hammer is going to make an appearance. Even the legend and the terrible woman known as Gisselchild, which was part of a peasants' revolt that was very early on as part of the YouTube channel. These are probably going to add to the lore of future campaigns. What I mean by that is that these characters will have part of the storyline. How the fuck are you supposed to get through here? I can't even move over this lip here. So whether it's Zuvan, of course, that was from one of the first gnarly campaigns that I played in, or the Baron York, or whoever, right? A lot of these characters are going to continue to live on the same way that Wazuban is a major part of this campaign, even though he was the primary star of the previous campaign. I like creating, I guess you could call it, some people might call it the tactical enlightenment universe here, right? We're going to try to create campaigns where the worlds meld together, a little bit like the Lord of the Rings, where there's lore behind it, where there's characters, obviously on a role-playing level, who carry grudges from one episode or one campaign to the next. And of course, that's also going to allow me to make the Patreon supporters and the people who have interesting characters roll over into new campaigns, right? Oh, well, got shot right in the face. I didn't hear him die. Okay, he did not die. Normally I don't do that little menu there. I just wanted to see if I immediately lost Hal. Here, let's play Rose. Let's do a little bit of ass whipping with Rose. I haven't heard from Rose in a while. She was coming by, commenting on videos on a regular basis. She joined our Patreon. She's been on Discord. And I wanted to reach out to Rose and say, hey, if you want to link your episode, or at least your channel, in the comment section, I'll be happy to sort of lend a pumping hand to a young YouTube creator, right? Everybody started out with 1 video, 2 video, 6 subscribers, 20 likes. And anytime people are part of our system, part of our Patreon. She was emulating a lot of the tactics we share on the channel. I like this kind of stuff, right? I can't share 300 channels with fellas here. Obviously, that'll defeat the purpose. But, if you've got a burgeoning YouTube channel and you think that it's worthy of attention, that maybe the algorithm isn't giving, speak up, right? And I guess what I would say is leave your resume as to why it's interesting. On Rose's side, she was doing an amalgamation of tactics that we did, as well as some of her own for castle defense. I think that's great. So if you're interested, in sharing your YouTube channel on our YouTube channel, I don't mind sharing the love from time to time. And essentially, like a good restaurant, telling people at their restaurant what are some other good restaurants they can eat at. I don't mind sharing the love here, right? I don't need to try to hoard all the attention. Otherwise, I wouldn't recommend YouTubers like Flesson19 and Strat Gaming Guide, right? There's all kinds of YouTube creators out there. And frankly, I think the Bannerlord universe has enough enthusiasts that all of us can have a nice little share of the public attention here. Just like Rose is going to share in some violence at the end of this episode. I think that kind of harmony between content creators is great. I don't mention it very often, but Mr. Chicken Bannerlord is one of the funniest content creators I've seen. Of course, we talk about Angry Goldfish, does some very good videos on min-maxing everything from characters to smithing skills and making money. There's a huge amount of content creators out there, and I think it's a good thing for growing content providers like me to share some of these names with you fellas, so I will continue to do so. All right, a little bit of pumping other people's YouTube channels, because this was, or at least it looks like, an indescript siege. I always like to look at cities and see if there's an interesting secondary defense. It doesn't really seem like it here, or at least a tertiary defense, but this is what I like to see, right? No deaths, although I think the true tally will come after the inner keep process here. But no deaths, right? We keep everybody alive with this death for all. Okay, Henry's unconscious. And no deaths. That's what we like to see. Our influence is rocketing up. I didn't see it, but we must have gained a huge amount of influence in those battles against the Aserai. What, they have 2,900 troops, and we smashed them aside here. So Henry is starting to become ascendant here, right? Henry is sweeping across the west on a role-playing level. I could just tell you, right? Manchug continues to be perturbed by the success of this clan, right? The clan name is actually the Lost. I haven't really mentioned that much, but Ryland's clan is called the Lost. Of course, they were exiled by the Baron, so these guys are just sort of roaming Calradia, trying to make a tale of their own, and they're starting to make quite a big tale, right? They're starting to make an awful lot of noise here. Hal, in particular, has had a very auspicious start, right? He has just smashed aside Wazuban, right? One of the most powerful warlords. In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and say, oh shit, look at this nice thing. A masterwork noble bow. We will take that. Thank you very much. That'll go into probably Hal's inventory. Or maybe we'll stick that on Rose for a little while. But Hal is starting to knock off everything in sight. We'll say that was Wazuban's first ever defeat in Calradia. It wasn't, of course. He lost a couple battles in the Aserai campaign. I'm not sure if he's lost any in the Vlandian campaign, so we'll just say that Hal was the first person to beat Wazuban, and Wazuban is not thrilled about it. Right? Hal is developing enemies, and that is very normal. After the siege of Yalmyris, Hal and his army marched north towards Rotai. It was one of those late summer evenings where the air was warm and fragrant, but distant storm clouds loomed as the family spoke with the village notables. While buying supplies at the village of Dradios, a dreadful shot rang out in the night. Struck Henry's wife, Billick, who died almost instantly. Many questions followed this murder. Who had fired the shots and for what cause? Was Hal the intended target, or did the assassin really want to kill his brother's pregnant wife? In the aftermath of this assassination, Hal and his family became increasingly aware that with success comes not just spoils, but new enemies.